This is getting to the good stuff right here. You all ready for this? Man, so you know, the past couple of years, I've been using the theme of, I use Will Smith. I talked about it last Sunday as we closed out, trying to promo this today's message. We used Will Smith, and y'all remember that scene where Will's dad was supposed to come in town, and he's making all these big promises, and at the last minute, here Will's ready to go, and he rolled out on Will. And I remember the emotion. The emotion, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. Now, because I already see it's a Holy Ghost moment, because I already see the image that a lot of people need. Not of the Will Smith's dad who constantly break promises, but I got a whole stage full of men that know how to Lord. Remember Will said, I'm going to have me a nice honey, some 4 or 5 kids, and I'm going to love my family like ain't nothing he can tell me about loving my family. I got a stage of men that can tell you how to love their families, how to be wonderful father. And God gave this to me right after last year's Father's Day. He said, next year, you're going to fill the stage with those examples that you were talking about. And that's what we have here today, because far too often, we haven't seen these images. We haven't had the notion that men of color, can I say men of color? Men of color are absent. And I'm telling you, here at Lift City Church, we got a whole house full of men that are not absent. So there's some stories that we're going to tell. Can I have my phone? They have my groups. And we're going to start. I just picked, I said, God, give me the groups that you want me to talk about. And the first one he talked about, he said, talk about this. He said, get a bunch of men and start talking to them about insights and encouragement from fathers of young children. So that's newborn and young kids. So without any further ado, folks, let's get to it, because we got a short amount of time to say a lot. So I want to talk to my young children, my newborn group. You all are up first. What nuggets do you have for us? Jared? And my second group that I'm going to talk about, you all get ready, is going to be those grandfathers, the grandfather wisdom, the grands that parent our children. You're going to be up next. So young folk, newborn and young children, fathering, take it away. Let's talk to them.
I would say the most important thing about fathering young kids is just being present. A lot of times we want to make sure we are able to provide, and we're career-driven and career-focused, and we want to give our kids what we didn't have growing up. But in times we can miss that. So I learned in life through being a father to just be present and just pay attention and don't put my career before my family. Yep.
So that's a man right there, Brian. He is a single parent. I said Daniel Williams. I said Brian. Daniel, I see you, Daniel. I'm looking. I see you, Brian. Daniel Williams, he is a young father. He's a single dad, fathering his daughter and his son. And one of the things, I come see this game all the time. He's a coach. He's a head coach. And actually won a championship last year and stuff like that. So he's a good coach. But that's what he's talking about. Daniel, so tell me, one of the ways to both accentuate that time, you became a coach?
Yes, sir.
Stand up.
I just, at times I wasn't always able to give financially. So what I could give is my time. So I just wanted to give back. And not only that, I love football. Me and my son, we connect there, so I love coaching him. So, yeah.
Amen. That's good. Outstanding. Who's up next? Jacob?
I'll go next.
Jacob, how many kids you got?
So my beautiful wife, Deshara, is over here. I have
brand new twins.
Three girls. Mia, she's 5. Aliana and Addison are 1. You're right. Daniel kind of hit it on the ball. Just being present, making sure my wife is good, my kids are good, and being intentional with your presence one thing that I do for my daughter, my 5-year-old, is I'm the coach on her team, and I plan to be the coach on my 1-year-old's soccer teams as well. I played soccer in the past, and I love it. Just making sure they're good and working together with my wife, to raise 3 children. It's rewarding, and that's what I have to say.
And the impact, little Mia, whenever I remember when she growing up now, trying to be a little lady now, but when she was young, she always ran to daddy's arms. That's that impact of being present. When your kid want to run to daddy, it's easy to run to mama because mama's with them all the time. But when they want to run to daddy, that speaks volumes of the impact. Because when you got all these influences out there in the future, you want them to be able to listen to you. So it's important that they run and jump into daddy's arms now. That means you're making deposits and you're able to withdraw some things from that child. We got anything else from the young group? That was for the newborn. Who else? Michael?
No, I just wanted to speak on the importance of the now effect. It's important to be present now and not to think too far into the future because tomorrow is not promised. I learned that the hard way, I guess you could say. I was the scapegoat in that event. When me and my dad decided to lock in and focus on our relationship, God called him home. So I was able to translate that into my relationship with my 4 kids and focus on the now.
And Michael, I can say this, and I'll say this gingerly. Michael's got a son who's very busy, very busy. And Michael has worked with him. He knew he ain't just spanking and beating and hollering, going upside the head all the time. He had to spend time with him. He had to talk with him. He had to, come on, Michael, what's the ingredient in that? Because I've been seeing great strides with that. Patience. Working. Instead of flying off the handle, cussing and hollering and screaming at your kid, you better instill something in that boy, something that he can gravitate to and get a hold of and give him a reason to want to listen to daddy and start to listen to teachers and instructors and so on and so forth. Who's up next? I could go on forever with each one of these men, but we got so much to cover. Come on, Eddie.
For me, whenever I got the text, the first thing came to mind was just like love. You gotta show. I have 2 little boys, so like the love for them is you just gotta show them love. Because nowadays, man, the kids can get lost in the streets, and the love for them, you just gotta show them that you love them. Every day I hug mine, just give them a hug, let them know you love them. And like you said, Mike, patience. Gotta have patience. I have one, my youngest, has a little slight autism, and it's taken a lot, but we gotta have patience with him, So that's what I got from it whenever you sent the text.
Wow, and yeah, go in and clap. I love these men are talking about things that every man can do. Time, attention, love, hug, patience. We ain't say nothing about buying bikes and trains and everything like that. That's secondary. You better give them you. That's what's most important. Give them you. That's more important than any of those toys. Kids need to know that daddy is there and daddy loves them. Any other? I heard ding, 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 ding. I think we got to move on. One more? Come on.
Yeah, in my situation, I feel like I guess I'm a father, but additional to that, I'm a man with a family. So first of all, I work long hours, so my wife really takes care of the kids more than I do. So the only way that I feel like, because I'm pretty much her assistant when they're taking care of the kids, but yeah, exactly. So the best thing that I could do for the kids is to make sure that I take care of my wife. If I do that, then I know those kids are gonna be okay. And that's probably the best thing I could do.
Man, that is so true, and I can apply that to how I deal with Pastor Tracy. When she dealing with all of y'all, I got to make sure she good. If she good, she going to be at her best to be able to take care of the church. It's the same thing in the house. Men, guess what? Your job, your 9 to 5 is not your primary job. The real job starts when you get home. Get your iced tea, get whatever you get, but don't get buried in the TV. Because now it's time to come and take care of the family and help out because mama been taking care of the kids for most of the day. She needs your help to come in and start with the real job. Very good. Okay, we're going to move on. We've been having, as you all know, you don't have to play it again. I already know. We have the next group is I want to hear some wisdom from a couple of grandfathers who are heavily invested in raising their kids. In some cases, maybe not this particular case, but in a lot of cases, we have kids raising kids, and a lot of time the major portion of the responsibility of raising the kid falls to the grandparents. And I have a couple of pawpaws, a couple of granddads who are doing a wonderful job in that regard in assisting in raising their grandchildren. So I'd like to hear from Pastor Terry and Deacon Al. Talk to us, Pastor Terry. Paul.
All right, good morning. I'm Deacon Allen Bessard, and I'm a grandfather, I'm a pawpaw, and I'm pops. I got a crew. I got 14 grandkids. I got 5. First off, I got 5 kids, and I got 14 grandkids, and 1 great grandchild. So I got a crew. I got 8 boys, and then there's 6 girls. And you gotta weigh your options with all of them because they all want the attention. I got sons, I got grandkids that, they into a lot of things. When you grandfathering, you go through a lot with all your grandkids because they all got different things they doing. You got baseball, you got football. I got 2 of them into dance and into stepping, and they take you somewhere now. They took us way to New York and won grand champion of the world, But on top of that, you got to be there and show your grandkids, your kid, that you're there for them. Give them the support that they need, because at times when they're gonna go bad sometime, and they just have to know that, well, Pop's there for me, On the girls, you got to be there with the girls. I'm Pops too. You got to sit in the chair. You got to have lip gloss all over your lip, bracelets on your arm, and that's some of the things you just have to do, as a grandfather. And I have no problem with it. I sit up there and just do what you want with me. But you, just as long as we're there and give them the support that they know. Them kids on the step team, I'm not only Pawpaw and Pops to my grandkids, the whole team call me Pops, so that's good. I take them all in, But the main thing as grandparents, just be there for your grandkids. Make sure that they know that you love them. And also, anything they need, guess what? It's not only the support of just being there. They always want to, you got to support them in that way too sometimes. A lot of times, some of the parents are not, the dads are not physically present for them. So that's where we step in as grandparents. And Proverbs 22 verse 6 states, train up a kid in the way that you want to go. So we want to see them grow. So we just make sure we there for them. Me and my wife.
He's such a wonderful figure. And he didn't talk about it, but he has a loved one that's incarcerated. Guess who goes to visit him on a regular basis? Always letting them know, not everybody's forgot about you. I still love you, son. And he's there for that loved one, ministering to them. Because one day they'll get out, and they're going to remember Papa was the one that came to see them at their worst time of life. All right, where's my other? Pastor Terry, talk to us.
How everybody doing? I'm sitting here listening to Deacon Al, and some of the things that he said was, the same things that I am working with my little tribe. I got 11 going on 13, right? Yeah, so, and most of them are girls, But, the thing is, to be a grandfather to them is to be someone who's modeling the demonstration of consistency, and not necessarily preferring one over the other. And, we have to be present for them. And like, Deacon Al was saying too, a lot of times their fathers are not in their lives. So it's incumbent upon the grandfathers to step in and show them a pattern of consistency, especially a pattern of love. But my big thing is as a grandfather is that, I want to follow the word of God too. And the word of God tells us that children are an inheritance from the Lord. And directly your children are, but, your children's children is also part of being your children. So that's a part of your inheritance too. So when we talk about inheritance, my thing is, the Lord gave them to us, to mentor them, to teach them, to guide them through life. But at the same time, where my mind and my heart has been for them is to establish some kind of generational wealth for them, so that I can leave to them an inheritance. Something so that they can get, have a head start on life. They ain't got to, always be working for the boss. They can be entrepreneurs. They can, explore their kit, and take after their grandfather. I wrote a book. I want them to write too. I want them to learn how to do things that doesn't always necessarily require them to have a job, but necessarily to be, an entrepreneur and find out that there are many sources out there that God can bless you through. So that's where my heart and my mind has been as far as my grandkids are.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Terry. My next group, thank you so much for the music. My next group is Fathering Gifted Children, Cedric, Brian, and Christian. And I'll set this up. One of the things, these men have very gifted children. One of them owns a business. Another one, at a very young age, is speaking Chinese. And then others got one that's lower than my knees and just talking and carrying on conversations. And what was struck by me is that at such an advanced age, these dads were able to recognize skills and potentials in their children and really embellish that. How do you recognize that? How do you see where God's trying to take your children? How do you recognize that? And what are the first steps to get them connected to the direction of where God wants them to display and convey their gifts and talents in life? So without any further ado, my gifted parents back there, fathers. Christian, you up first?
Yeah, I'll take it up first. I have my little baby girl, Ivory, and my little man, Justin, man. They really make me proud of them all the time. And, I remember the sermon that Pastor Tracy was preaching a while back, and it was kind of, she had spoke a little bit about the picking, don't just have your kids in 20, 30 different things. Choose something that they're good at and push hard for that one. And I thought about Justin. We used to have him in baseball, and we wanted him to be in everything. And, they're not really, if you try to put them in 20, 30 different things, they won't focus and get good at one. So we found one that he enjoyed, and it was piano. And man, let me tell you, we had his yesterday. It was his I can't even get it out. Recital. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. We had his recital yesterday, and man, he did his thing, and he killed it out there. I mean, he was awesome. And I have conversations with Justin and Ivory, and we really believe in, taking pride in the things they are good at and letting those things flourish and give them confidence and guidance to keep going through with it. My little man knows I talk to him daily. Sometimes we'll have 2-hour conversations where he'll just get aggravated with me because I'm talking too much, but it's okay. It's for a reason, and that's what we're there to do as parents. We're there to guide them and into what they want to do and grow into what they want to do. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Who's next? Cedric?
Yes, thanks. I recognized pretty early about Cameron being kind of talented. He's talented. It started probably when he was like 10 years old. He was the type that I can do this, I can do that. And I realized that God has put something in him that made me have to take a step back because I had a small business that I was working every weekend, but he started off DJing. And when he started DJing, he needed someone to drive him around because he was probably about 12. And yes, we bought him the equipment, we bought him the subwoofers, he always wanted the top of the line. So the stuff that he bought was very heavy. So I had to put my business aside and follow him DJing because it's like he became booked almost every weekend. And I had to step back because I was booked every weekend. And at the time, he was making, I guess, little money, and I felt like I was making big money, but my wife and I realized that this is his passion, this is what God put in him, so we're gonna put our children first and we're gonna go with them. And needless to say, he started after DJing, he went into taking pictures, and he went into photography. After photography, he went into videography, and he opened his own business, and it paid off really well. So now I can sit back and enjoy the fruit of his labors.
So he's talking about his son right there, the main camera person for the ministry, Cameron right there standing up. Look, Cameron, I'm gonna tell you business just a little bit. Cameron, he has a studio right there on the main strip on Johnson, and he's like, I need more space. The business is growing. So he decides to go to the suite next door, bigger than that, but opportunities are coming so big. He said, I'm gonna keep this one and the next suite. So he got almost a whole city block, and he's just running things. But you heard it started with Dad saying, at 12 years old, this boy got some entrepreneurial skills. At 12 years old, instead of gaffing him off, man, I ain't got time to be lugging your turntables and your speakers and all that. Man, you get your friends to do it. He said, nah, Dad was his #1 fan. If anybody's gonna help you, I'm gonna help you. And look what Dad did. Foster the entrepreneurship in him, and today he's doing a great thing. I look over at Time, Elder Chris, Time. She got her own studio, art studio. Dad did a whole art gallery, bought one year, rented out a whole building, and she had all her art display in there so that the city can know who Time Brooks is, this wonderful artist. You gotta recognize where they're going, and you gotta put the time and effort in to help promote them, because you already know what it takes to get there. I got one other entrepreneurial smart kid. Come on, Brian, talk to us. Brian, you need to step into they say step into the, there you go.
Well, y'all know Maddie. She's smart. She talk a lot.
Maddie barely tall in this table talking Chinese. How you do that, yeah. Brian?
She speak Chinese. She chose it. Her teachers in pre-K sent her to the expo, and we let her pick what she wanted to do. I thought, okay, cool, Chinese is going to kind of slow her down a little bit. She got to learn it. And within 2 weeks, she was counting to 100. She was already at the end of what they're going to be learning in kindergarten. She was already there at like the halfway point. So just everything she do, she's good at, even if she doesn't want to do it. We tried sports. She's good. She'll do it for like one game, and then she'll be like, I'm done. But she'll show you that she could do it, and she'll be like, okay, you see I could do it, but now I'm not going to do it no more. She draws like amazing for a 7-year-old, like high school level. So we just, whatever she like to do, we try everything, and whatever she likes the most, that's what we just push.
Pastor DJ, I tried to have him in football, and he liked that football. Football was okay, but that wasn't his thing. He was good at it. Boy, one game, he scored a touchdown, threw a touchdown, and kicked a field goal. Boy, was good. And then, he did karate, loved that karate. He didn't like practicing for karate, but he loved competition because he saw them big trophies over there. He's like, I want one of them trophies. So when competition came, the boy got busy. And growing up, we thought, okay, his grandmother died years ago, Pastor Tracy, 2003, so he wanted to be a cancer doctor, wanted to grow up. So pediatric oncology. So he goes to Temple University. Some kind of way he got off track, and he majored in theater and communication. But I'm laughing. I'm saying he off track, but he was right where God wanted him to be. Because in high school, the boy was like the lead role in all the plays and stuff. And guess what he's doing today? In the fall, he's now the new director of theater, or what is it? he's building a theater program for one of the main high schools. He starts as the lead instructor this coming fall. Y'all go to them plays over there at UL, all the wonderful Shrek. Y'all remember that? Derrick was the director for Shrek. This year, he's directing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I had to let go of that. Now, look, some of the things you got your kids doing, you got to wonder, is it because it's you that want them doing it, or is that their passion? And my passion was, his mother and I's passion was, go be that doctor, man. We want to say that son. And he got off, but he pursued his passion. And we realized we had to push that. So he was up in Philly with all them plays. We've trooping up to Philly, participating in the house, supporting him for all his plays. How many of you know some of them plays wasn't all Christian-based either? We had to sit through those too. Like, okay, praise the Lord, we with you, son. But yeah, find your son. Dana, hey, Nina, your little granddaughter, I heard two of them, you went, okay, hear the music coming. Go ahead and play the music. I heard your two little kids, you try to play sports, and one of them clung to softball and said, oh, I'm loving this. The other one said, oh, no, it's too hot. It's too sticky. Don't go ahead and keep forcing the issue. Go find something that the other one wants to do. This one loves baseball or softball, but the other one is dainty, wants to flip and hula hoop and do whatever. Recognize that and help them achieve their potential instead of ramming stuff down their throat. Okay, our next group of men is, this is a good one. Keys to building strong relationships with adult children. Deacon Barry Shelvin. I got you up first, brother.
That's about right. Put me on the spot. Well, I was hoping I would got one of the other subjects, but you get what you get. But the best thing I can say is that the way I've did it is my life, the way I live my life. And the Lord has blessed me and my wife over the years to accumulate a few things. And I know Pastor said sometimes called Gentile bait. And kids are drawn to that kind of stuff. So, it's like I just try to live to where, my life's just be an example to them. And the other thing is like parenting, like I like to say parents, y'all carry a lot of responsibility, too, for your kids. And by showing them the examples, too. My two children are here today, Raven and Barry. And my daughter, Raven, most of y'all know her. She moved from California about 3 years ago. And when she came, I noticed she just watched my life. She bought a home. Since she's been here, she serves in the church. Now, my son, he's here. He moved back from California about 4 or 5 months ago, and now I'm working on him. And, he's not kind of used to this, from where he came from. But he's coming to church, and I'm pretty sure he's watching his daddy, what I do, And so, like I said, I just try to live my life before him and set the example.
I love it. I love it. And just being there, adult kids need to make very significant decisions. You assisted Raven with the home, the purchase of the home, right? You gave her counsel. You gave her some guidance. Having been a homeowner for a long time yourself, businessman as well, you knew some things and pitfalls to look for, and she was able to counsel you about, is this a good buy? And now she's selling and doing great. We're not going to talk about the great decision that was, all that equity, Raven. She's doing great, though. Wonderful decision. And his son met him. He's doing a wonderful job. We don't spook you out. We just be examples before you. Hanging out with the men, he's recognized, man, it is a joy in serving God, being around other men of like precious faith. We don't spook each other out. We just strong. We just swap it. We talk about men's issues. They hung out at Top Golf. I was flying back from D.C., but you all had a great time together, right? We had fun. So we're not all church in the Bible. We get out and hit a few and drink Cokes and Sprites and stuff like that and have a good time with one another. Amen. Who else do I have for Brother Gerald? Where you at, Deacon Gerald? Come on, man. This brother right here, his adult child is out of state. Every time I turn around, he heading to Austin because he's trying to be that example. Talk to us, Gerald. Dallas, I'm sorry. I knew it was Texas.
Well, mine's a little different. I was My daughter wasn't raised with me for a while. Turn it off. I thought off would have been better, and now, you know, she's 41, and but I'm a big kid myself, so that's one of the things. But during my journey, by me being raised by a lot of women, first of all, which gives my heart, which is why I don't mind serving, doing anything, because even right now, all the time that I've been away from my daughter, she loves where I'm at now. She loves my wife. She loves I'm in church. She loves what I'm doing. And we has the best relationship now. And although, you know, she's done, her mom says and everybody else says she has my way. Whatever she go for, she go get it. Wherever, and she's went to college. She said everything she wanted to do, she done it. She has her own business. She's setting herself up now in the next 5 years that she may not have to work no more. So, I mean, she's a great aunt. She's like out of the box. And, but for me, it has to been with her was accountability. Daddy, you're never gonna leave again. You're gonna call. You're gonna be responsible. And that's what I have to do now, even though as old as she is. And some people say, well, man, I say, I know what it is, bro. She missed that kid life, so she's always daddy little girl, so I gotta sit back and do it again. But, and my wife is the better journey of it. Without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, you know, and I'm a big kid because I tell y'all, all y'all children are my children. In here, yeah. So if you see me running around the alley with them, that's me. I love them. So, but that's my journey of just being accountable now, you know. And that's what life is all about anyway. So I'm learning from y'all, and these men here. That's where I learned from. Cause when you meet me and ask me how you do, I introduce them to these men. So that's my journey.
So, Gerald, I hear two things, very important. One, by the time that I heard my music, okay, I got the key. One more group. By the time you get to be an adult, your child is an adult, he flipped the script. As a child, they're supposed to be accountable to their parents. But if you missed that opportunity to make impact on them while they were young kids, he flipped the script. He now became accountable to his child. And he said, I'm accountable to call you. I'm accountable to come see you. What else? Call, come see. How about accountable to hug you? How about accountable to say, I love you, son. I love you, daughter. Because a lot of us missed that opportunity. We didn't have it, so we don't extend that to our kids. Accountability was one. It was something else you said. Oh, sometimes if I don't know how to be a father, it sounds like my wife. Sometimes when I don't know how to be a father, it sounds like what my wife is telling me. He said, I wouldn't be the father that I am. Man.
Man, don't make me cry either.
I'm breathing.
Come on now. I'll be trying to hold back on that.
Yeah, but a lot of you men missed it. You got to help me. A wife is recognized you short in this area. She's trying to tell you what to do. She's standing by. She's got a front row seat, and you blowing through all the red lights. You missing all the emergency signs, all the warning. You just blowing right through it. And as a result, everything associated with your relationship with your kid is dead. Listen to your wife. If you're not going to hear God, sometimes God sounds like your wife trying to tell you, do this, listen. She's there to be a helpmeet. Help you in the areas where you're not strong. Open up and listen. The women got those characteristics, that love and that patience and that affection that so many of us men are devoid of. They will show us, they will help us and lead us. But guess what? You got to break down that pride, brothers. You got to release that heart, and you got to allow somebody that knows a little bit more than you in this particular area. You got to allow them to speak into you. And it's a very simple thing. Call your daughter. Call them on their birthday. Call them on their anniversary. Call them and congratulate them on this, they achieved that. Graduation time. Call and tell them congratulations on graduating from beauty school or whatever. But you just like, nah, I ain't doing that. Pride. Pride got you. You want to be a big man, but a little man got you. Come on, let's keep it going. Creating successful blended families. Elder Chris, talk to us. I'm sorry. Elder Chris, you might close out for building strong relationships with adult children. Oh, I can't do this. Is a primary example right here.
I tell you what, I'm not going to say much because greatness has all of the quality these men up here have. And they done said just about everything. You know, when we look for a path to take in life, they done said it all. Be a great dad, be there for your kids, and how to navigate grown kids to have a relationship with God. My kids made it easy on me because the moment they was born, I started getting me ready. You know, it started with me. So what I did, I started working with me, and then I know they was gonna be watching me. So I kept doing what God was calling me to do. And God not finished with me yet. You know, yeah, he's still working on me. I still got some work to do. I can stand up here with a suit jacket on, but I still got some work to do. So, and just keep teaching your kids, man. Your job is never done as a parent, you know, and it's a joy to especially when they listen. And not only when they listen, you know, they learning on their own. So, and they're not learning on their own because I always was there. I always was there to bump you back in. And sometimes the bump isn't always just a bump. Sometimes it's a push, a shove. You know, I get parented by my kids. You know, as you get older, your kids gonna start parenting you, telling you what you need. And yeah, sometimes you have to listen what you need. What you need is what they're asking you for. What they need is what they're asking for. So just keep parenting. I really appreciate Tyne, Christopher, and Taurus for just making my job worth the while and worth the journey to be called dad. You know, and I'm a host to a lot of, I'm a father to a lot of my nieces, my nephews. My brother passed away, so I got a whole nother group of kids, you know. I am my brother's keeper, you know. So my job just doesn't stop within the circumference of my household. It goes out further, and I have also other guys too, a bunch of them out there. So I have a lot of kids. You know, it's good to say I have a lot of friends that I look up to, that they look up to me as what to do next with my grown kids. You know, so just stay involved and stay grounded in God.
I love that. Thank you, Chris. And an important point that he said, you know, we've been talking about fathering and we've been focused on our own kids, but one of the kids, the one that got up, talked about his son, Michael, that's his nephew. And his nephew was drawn to the church by mom and dad, by Rory, by aunt and uncle. So you can have an impact just living a life in front of your family. They got a big family. So when they get together and you see the difference, something about you that's different. Uncle, how come you don't cuss like you used to cuss? How come you ain't fussing and fighting with auntie like you used to? You know, they see something. They see something on your life. They see a difference that they gravitate to and say, man, I know how they used to be, but lately, every time we come together, I see some positive stuff. That's you being read like a Bible. People are seeing the God in you without you even saying anything, just how you live your life. And that's the case for so many of us. Okay, getting to my last and third group. Creating successful blended families. First up, let me say a little something. I had some notes on this, so I'm going to try not to hog all the time, but I wanted to set this up. When 1 Corinthians says, when you become one, a joining of the souls, when you become one, you're just that. You're one. Our families come together, but husband and wife become one. 50% of all marriages today are blended families. A blended family is where one or more of the spouses in a marriage brings a family into the marriage. Day one from a prior marriage or perhaps an unplanned pregnancy. Like, y'all remember that movie, Dancing with Wolves? Stand with Fists? Oh, no, I don't see anybody raising their hand saying they remember that. It was this, some of the old school remember. This lady was raised by Indians, and she was wounded because she had a husband before, but the reason why they called her Stand with Fists is because her former relationship, she didn't want to be bothered with anybody, and they called her Stands with Fists, like, I'm going to put something on you if you mess with me. A lot of people come to relationships with a blended family with prior damage from a prior relationship. So it's nice that you get remarried, but guess what? There's oftentimes some work that you got to work through, some issues, breaking down some barriers that were built up from that prior relationship. So I know the group of men that I've selected have at some point in time share with me success factors of how they got through the minutia of past and former relationships. So without any further ado, Gerald, Pastor, sounds like Jared, looks like you up first.
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Well, speaking from the perspective of somebody coming into a family, one of the big challenges is being patient and understanding that it's the children that are in a confusing and complicated situation. Because especially younger children who don't yet know how to navigate their feelings or yet have the ability to understand what's going on. In my particular situation, my beautiful daughter, Kelsey, right there, when I came into the family, she's now 19, but she was 5 at the time. And we liked each other before I liked her mama. So we had a relationship, but even then, seeing me be in the place where her father should be, there was a lot of confusion for her. And just understanding that and understanding that she has to figure out what's going on. And I still say to this day, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do was to find the words to try to explain to her when she just looked at me and said, where's my dad, you know? And that was a tough thing for me. So just being there and just constantly loving her. And I remember times she would go to her dad's house. We were best friends. And then she'd come back and she wouldn't want to speak to me because while she liked me and loved me, she also felt like she was betraying or being disloyal to her own father by liking me. So I had to understand that and just be patient and continually love her because one day they do understand. One day they will realize that you're on their side as well. And it's okay to have more than one parent figure in your life. But one thing to the fathers out there or people who are going through that, just know that God doesn't make mistakes. God knows what he's doing. He already has a plan in place because Kelsey's father went on to be with the Lord a couple years ago. And my other daughter, Abby, right there, just leave her be because Abby, she also has a father who's going through things. So God knew that they were going to need a father figure, somebody to pour into their life and show them what it is to be a man, what it is to love them. So I make sure that I do my best example to show them what it is. And I love their mother to show them what it is for a man to love a woman, what it is for a man to love a child. And just as much as I needed them, they needed me. Little did I know I was going to need them just as much because after cancer robbed the ability for me and my wife to conceive our own child, God already had in place a plan to fulfill that, to fill that emptiness for both of us, for both sides, and that he just doesn't make mistakes. So just be sure that you do love on those kids because we don't say step. That's my children, and it is my biggest honor to be a father figure to them. My biggest joy.
What I heard, I know I gotta let the others speak, so I can't be long interruption. But what I heard was, when you have a traditional coming together of man and woman that don't have any kids, guess what the focus is on when you start that relationship? The two of you, the two boos, in that honeymoon for as long as you want to be. We just thinking about each other. But when you come into a blended family, there's got to be a focus on the kids because you got to deal with them. There's some emotions and some feelings and things that they're going through. So the husband and wife is still the priority in the blended family, but you have to spend some time building relationships with the kid. And what I heard you say is there got to be some agape love, some undeserved love, because there's going to be some lashbacks. There's going to be some hard feelings in some of these relationships, and you got to persevere. You got to fight through those challenges and let the love of God come, because love will cover a multitude of sins. Until that love, what Martin Luther King said, love will turn an enemy into a friend. And right now, you might have an adversary relationship with that blended family, those kids. Let the love of God just ooze out of you to help win that person, because that love is tearing down those hurts and those pains and those strongholds that are preventing that child from loving you back, be it father or be it mother. Claude?
Good morning. It was kind of the same for me like Pastor Jared. I came in the marriage with 3 boys. I was single. She had a 6-month-old girl, and I hated, not want to say hated, but blended, I didn't like it. I didn't want to be blended. I didn't want people looking at us like, oh, this and that, but it was what it was. But we just had to put God first and put the negative stuff from the, say, outside sources, and just didn't bring that in our house, and we wasn't going for it. And I kind of was like that too. We wanted them to see their love and be with their other parents, but it wasn't the same when it came back in our house. But we prayed about it, and we ain't doing too bad with it. Yeah. So, but
very good. I love it. We had Mr. T. Come on, brother, talk to us.
Hello, I'm Minister Terrell. That's my lovely wife, LaKara, right there. Actually, that's my teacher also. Because when we got together, I was married once before. I was divorced at the time, and then we got together. She had 3 kids, and I had 3 kids, like the Brady Bunch. But she taught me to, as a family, if we're going to be a family, we need to do things together. I wasn't used to that. I wanted to take my girls, and when I had my weekend with them or my week with them, and we go do something together, because I didn't want to lose the relationship we had with one another, and I didn't want to mix it. But my wife was persistent, and she made sure that anytime we did anything, we did it as a family. And then I started realizing and seeing the fruit of it, and having foresight of understanding how important it is because I put it like that, I didn't think our relationship was going to last that long. That's probably why I didn't want to do things together. But as I started understanding and getting in the church, staying consistent in the church, and understanding that, I'm stuck with her now. And then I was like, I didn't want to keep the chaos in my house. Having our kids separated, it was causing a lot of chaos. And then I started having a foresight and understanding that they're not going to leave me with a crazy woman. So we actually spend a lot of time with our kids. And one thing I do realize that in today's society, we'll hold our kids more accountable than we want to hold ourselves. Because our kids might do something and just look at in school, they might get in trouble or whatever, and then they're kicked out of school. But a teacher could do something crazy and still keep her job. As a parent, we got to realize that our kids are not going to make, the best choices and stuff like that. And we got to be able to continue to guide them and teach them. So our kids now, I don't know if it's success yet. Still, the jury's still out. But our kids have a great relationship with one another. I think over the years, we've I don't want to say force, but we made sure that they were always together when we done stuff or whatever. And a couple of our kids, they didn't like it at all. Now they're older and they have kids, and they understand, and we're much closer now than they were before. And I can see how great it is to have a big family and blended family.
So you said you waiting to see the jury's out on how successful it is. So he was talking about he spent a lot of time. First of all, he was the coach. His son just graduated high school, and he was the offensive coordinator for the team. One thing that struck me was that it's one thing to make an impact on your son, but when we call for a men's fellowship and we playing flag football, he brought the whole football team. His whole son's high school football team came out and tried to spank on the season folk. And I'm like, well, that's success right there. Because the son, you know how it is, some folk don't want to bring their folks around their church. But this guy got the whole football team coming. Why? Because the son has made impact on the friends, and to where he had influence, and boy, they have a ball. They come in and had a good time. So I submit to you, the jury is not still out. The verdict has come back. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, because his son is a fine young man, graduated, got a football scholarship to one of the local colleges, and just a remarkable young man. And his daughter, she went to Graham and did a year at Graham. She didn't lose her mind. She did a great job. So I submit there's a lot of signs you all are doing a wonderful job. And guess what? That's a husband and wife that wasn't doing too great when they came in. Got in here, got up under the word, let that word get in him. Now that word's coming out in him, and it's having a positive impact. And he's an excellent father, excellent example. Got little kids. Got high schoolers every time I turn around. Terrell, we have menship people. Okay, there go the music again. Fellowship going, and we got men, we got young kids everywhere because of this guy's example. Why, men? Why? Because you have to think of more than just yourself. You got to be kids. The Bible talks about turning the hearts of kids back to the fathers sons back to the fathers, and the daughters back to the mothers. You find that anointing. You find that spirit of unity. You find the strongholds and the bondages being torn down in the company of people of like precious faith. And I can recommend no other church than Lift City Church. Look at this. The stage, we don't have enough stage for the other men that I could have brought up here to talk about their life. Willie, how many kids? Like a rack of kids. Willie don't carry the kid. The wife not carrying. Willie carrying the kids all over the place. Excellent fathers. And Darian, I know you out there somewhere, so many excellent examples of fathers that I could have brought up here that I visually see you in your kids' life doing a great job. We got some work to do, folks. If you look at the kids and kids cutting up out there and doing their own thing, most of them is because of absenteeism in the home. The father's not there to be the example. But we're here to write a new chapter. We're here, and guess what? If you don't have that father figure, come on, bring them to church. We'll put them in the company of all these wonderful men. We do that all the time. When we have fellowships, we embrace the kids that come up and show up and do different things. So here, I would say this. What were you saying? Go ahead, Jared. Elder Clarence?
So with blended families, like Pastor Jared said, there's no such thing as step. Everyone's treated the same, because that's a stigmatism when you say a step kid. No one wants to be a step kid. So the way we treat them all the same. They're always watching. They're always watching. You know, my job was to make sure that they saw what a godly man is, a provider, someone they can look up to. The testimony is that my wife's a nurse, beautiful wife. I'm a paramedic. Our kids follow in the same footstep. Son is a paramedic, daughters are nurses, and my son is out there as a lawn service man. And I asked him, why do you choose that career? He said, that is my passion. That is my fulfillment. And when I go around the cities and people talk about him and the work he does, that's a testimony to what his passion is. And that's no greater joy than when someone else tells you how good your son or your daughter is. So that's what being a father is. Show them a good example, being present, and show them someone that they can be a role model to. And it doesn't matter if biological or not biological. You still have a presence in the home, and they are watching whatever you do, and they're still going to be that father figure.
I can remember when his son is the one that we had running. Timmy was the one at 13 years old was running the audio department when we were young in the church, and everybody that can breathe was working in the church. We accepted, yeah, Timmy, go back there and run that board. But I can remember the day that he decided he was going to stop working with or for the church, and he was going to go become that training for that medical tech. I was like, dog. I was like, good for you, but dog, we're going to be missing him. But then I don't realize, man, what? Hey, man, Pastor Tracy always said these are God's people. These not your people. So instead of feeling some kind of way about him not being available to work for the church, I prayed and believed for his prosperity that he would be the best medical tech there was. And guess what? Now that he finished, he came back to work for the church again. Now that he took care of stuff. Man, great job. Derrick Jackson, don't even try it. You know I forgot you. Namesake. Come on, brother. You had something for us. Give me something.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to talk about presence. So the first couple of years when I was with my wife, I was absent a lot because I was always offshore and working in West Texas. So she did the job of being the wife and the husband to being the father. So I just want to give her a shout out for being an amazing mom and stepping in place for me. She's awesome. And now that I'm home, I've been home a year now, so just being home is so amazing. I get to spend more time with my kids, put them in sports, being there for them. And as soon as I pick them up after school, I'm taking baths, I'm getting food together. She don't have to do anything at the house. And I'm just happy to be here. And I come to rehearsal, my son comes with me. He sings the songs, he knows all the songs. So I'm just happy to be a positive influence in my kid's life.
That brother, there's a reason why we miss Derrick. There's a reason why we miss Derrick. That brother took a pay cut, a significant pay cut, leaving Texas to come back home to Louisiana so he could be closer to his family. Y'all make him rich. The man is a life insurance salesman. How to get in touch with you, Derrick? Life insurance.
If anybody need me, they can I'll talk to him and I'll give him my number.
You see him, just see him after church.
Yeah,
life insurance. Make him rich, you all.
Thank you.
That brother, but make an impact on his family. Thank you so much, brother. Okay, you all get it? Anybody get anything today? I have something right here, something that Kirsten once gave me, and it's something that I keep. It's a little placard. It's a card, and it says, "A man to respect, a life to admire, my dad." I want that to be every man that's a father. I want that to be your testimony.